And we are live.
Yeah, kind of. It's not live.
Ish. We are live to each other.
So, Joel,
Gareth.
topics of today. Living by yourself as opposed to living with other people, our experiences. And if there's one person in the world you could shake hands with, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Who would it be and why?
Are you asking me? Are you just blown out asking me?
I guess so. Yeah, sure. Well, tell me. Who would it be?
See,
Why would you want to shake hands with them?
I've been thinking about this all day, right? Because there's a couple people I'd love to shake hands with, and I tried to boil it down to one person. I know two that I would definitely want to shake hands with, and probably will want to shake hands with for the rest of my life. One of which I can't, because he has unfortunately passed away to the other side, and that is Heath Ledger. That purely is because I think he is still to this day one of, if not the best actor on the face of the earth that has ever graced the cinema screen. And I think he just had a really nice outlook on life. He was very career driven. He was very just cheerful. And he had a warm aura, which I just love to sit down for an hour and just talk to him and see how his brain worked and various other things. And the other person that I definitely would want to shake hands with, and probably still could, fingers crossed, at some point in my life, would be Jordan Peterson.
Do you know what? I knew you were going to say Jordan Peterson, because we've talked so much about him in our own time that I felt that had to be the next name on your list.
I think he's not only helped me, but helped so many people on this planet, that he is one of the most incredible men I've ever had the pleasure of listening to and learning from. He's helped me in quite rough and, I guess, dark times in my life, and he's helped me understand a clear clarity of mind, I guess is a good way to put it, on the perspective of life, on choices, and all different kind of things. Just being a person. He's just a fantastic man, and I think out of all the people that I know in my life and who are in the media spotlight, his heart is in the right place. Whilst it might not seem like it to some people, I think they just don't understand him and his practices or his methods. His heart, to me, is as good as gold dust.
He kind of almost strikes me as like a Darren Brown for the mind, but his tricks are actually real. You know, he's like a mind magician in how he can rephrase things and bring things to the table in a way which makes you look at and go, okay.
I think just his outlook on a lot of things, whether it be like religion, psychology, philosophy, and general day-to-day life, is beautiful and harsh. He's very honest, which I can't praise anyone enough for in this day and age, to be completely open and honest. And he's not afraid to tell people how it is. Some people don't like that, but unfortunately, tough. That is how the world works, for the most part. But his main consensus is like, here's how awful things are or could be, but you have to be strong enough and brave enough to deal with them because you are worth something. And he's not exactly a motivational speaker, so to speak. He's someone that takes a basic principle and makes it understandable and relatable to a point where you wanna listen to him, you wanna agree with him. And he's done endless practices and endless studies on the human mind and human behavior, and religion for that matter. that what he's saying has so much ground and so much weight to it that you can't really argue with him. And over his course of life and some of the struggles that he's had to deal with, I think it just makes him more of a man. Now,
You know, I really like it when someone can bring an argument to the table, but do it in a way which is really inviting and invites you to get involved and says, hey, here's an argument. You might disagree, but come and get involved. And not in a confrontational way, but in a way of intrigue and in a way of saying, yeah, I'd like to know more about this. I'd like you to share with me how you feel. Come and tell me, and let's have an exchange of understanding. It's not a case of saying, come and tell me why you're right or why I'm wrong. It's saying, no, come and sit down, exchange understanding with me, and let's see why our views are different, and if we have any middle ground, if we have any common ground that we can find.
Yeah. I really struggle to. I've always personally struggled to find a reason to dislike or disagree with Jordan Peterson. As a natural trait of me, I will always find or try and find a way to disagree, not in a negative way, but like disagree or disliked something or someone or something someone said, purely because for me it brings a realm of almost like reality to it. Because if something's like, oh yeah, that's perfect, everything you've said is completely right, I completely agree, there's no disparity, there's no disagreement there, let's all go and frolic in the flowers. I don't like that method of thinking. I think if you can find someone's point of view and see even the potential negative sides of it, and still agree with them, and still find that point of view amazing, that makes it even more interesting to me. When you can still disagree with parts, but agree with them at the same point, I really like that. And over me listening to and reading Jordan Peterson's books, I found it very difficult to do that because he's so particular with his words, and he's so specific in how he phrases things that it blows my mind that people still don't understand him, and people still misquote and misinterpret what he's saying to be like a negative thing. I don't understand how people get to that point when listening to him, because he lays it out like basic brickwork. He says it how it is, and he's not doing it maliciously. He's stating, more than likely, stating facts and statistics that he's read and learned about or even witnessed himself, and putting it so matter of fact that it's almost like people just can't accept that truth.
So tell me this about you for a second then.
Yeah.
Because I think what you said before about the fact that when someone brings you a point of view or an argument, there's a part of you that wants to come at them with the antithesis of that argument. And I think I get this because I've felt it in moments before, and I've definitely had it with talking to you. And I'll say what this is within me. When someone's talking and they bring forward an argument, it's really lovely to be able to hear that they have considered the other side. They are aware that there is a middle ground. And sometimes it's really important for someone to have a very specific and strong standpoint. But at the same time, for me, it gives me so much more respect, I think, for someone if they're able to share their argument in a way which says, yeah, there is some middle ground here and there are some pros and cons to both, but here is why I might choose this side over another side, or here's why I choose this because of X, Y, and Z, and I accept its flaws. And there's something within that for me which is so important to hear versus someone that is saying, no, there is nothing wrong with this. It's just the only way and the perfect way. I find that so... it's just infuriating.
It's naive. It's naivety to take a concept, even as basic as some things are, and to just accept them at base level as perfect or as right without any argument in yourself. That's why a lot of my friends, you included, if we talk about something, there's more than likely an element that you have already considered the negatives. And it's just being realistic, I think, is one of the main things. It's not everything is sunshine and rainbows. Not everything is perfect. So accepting that idea that there are things that could go wrong, there are things that are negative, but a lot of the time the good outweigh the negative, and that if you've accepted that and you've done your research and you've thought about it in your own time, I will have agreed with you that unfounded respect for you, that you have taken that time to take something that you love and be like, yeah, but there are these negatives, but they're so minor negatives that the good outweighs it, and that would give me even more reason to agree with you if you can look at that double point of view.
The to be able to look at the different benefits of something and then choose it because you prefer those benefits over something else. But this is getting very meta because I'm sort of talking about an argument within an argument, almost like meta arguing. I like it. It's good.
Yeah, kind of.
Let me tell you before we continue too far.
Go ahead.
Or actually, before I want you to guess who my person I'd want a handshake is.
You want me to guess who your Ooh, okay.
I just said that in the worst English possible. But carry on.
I mean, you are northern, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even. I genuinely wouldn't be able to start. I don't know. I don't think it would be an actor. It might be, but I'm trying to think if there was an actor who you'd like to shake hands with.
They are. I mean, to be fair, I'd shake hands with many actors. Just like, hi,
same here. But
do you want some help in the film that you're doing, Benedict?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't turn that opportunity down, but I'm trying to think if that one person, and it is just you've only got one person.
I've got one. Well, yeah, I've got one person. Is
he dead?
Answered the question. He's not dead. No.
No.
Do you think he's old or young?
A younger person, like maybe 30.
Okay. I mean, they were once 30.
Oh, so it's old.
He's getting that way now, actually. Yeah, he does. He in my mind, he's like 45, but he's probably.
Is he an actor?
No. Well, depends. No, he's not an actor by trade.
He's not an actor. I have no idea. I'm trying to think of what you have your interests in, and nothing comes to mind.
It's Bob Ross.
Really?
No, it's not Bob Ross. Although I'd love to shake his hand.
Mate, I was gonna get so happy then. I was like, yeah, that's a really good person to shake hands with.
No, I'd absolutely love to shake hands, sit down, talk to for hours Barack Obama.
Why?
He as a human, he intrigues me a lot because he has gone through the political system of America all the way from, the starting out as a student right up to being president and being president for the full 2 terms as well. And his outlook on life and the way he considers how he speaks, the way he considers how he comes across and what he says, and his demeanor, his kind of level of operation just as a human, to me, just looks so charismatic and so interesting. And I think there's got to be a really good brain on those shoulders. Not that I've ever spoken to him, but from what I've seen, he just seems to be
there's
full
no
of
doubt
compassion.
there's a good head on those shoulders. 100%. But what would you ask him?
I think the first thing I'd ask him is, how do you stay so calm and collected when you have a decision to make that's, I don't know, going to potentially start another world war?
What would you do if you sat down, shook his hand, and like 15 minutes in, you realised he was an absolute arsehole?
I'd say Barack. We gotta sort this out.
What's
man.
happened?
What's going on? It's gone to your head. What is it? Book deal? Come on, you were president.
Mate, I wouldn't have guessed that you picked Barack Obama for the life of me at all.
Yeah.
I thought it would have been like. I didn't think it would have been an actor, but maybe someone in the political stance, but not Barack Obama. Like maybe Winston Churchill or fucking Princess Diana or something.
I'd love to shake hands with Boris Johnson. I think that'd be brilliant.
Would you like some tea? I've just come to give you some tea.
Or some tea. Or some hair product.
I'm not answering your questions. I'm here to give you tea.
Yeah, no, I just think Barack Obama is such an interesting person and just an interesting human all round. And from what he's experienced as well. And from how he's, at least from what we've seen of him publicly, has been such a family man and such a family orientated chap, even though he has been president as well.
Now, if it was someone dead, who would it be?
See, this is tough. I didn't prepare.
You haven't thought that far through, have you?
No, I haven't.
Aha.
So I'm trying to think now. Who has died?
Whilst you're thinking, I can give you some of the people that I would love to shake hands with.
Okay.
One of them would be Robin Williams.
Oh, actually, yeah.
I think Robin Williams, his outlook on life, rest in peace, was beautiful. Like, in every sense of the word, just absolutely beautiful. And whilst it might not have, unfortunately, I think he had that inner turmoil of making everyone else feel better and pushing his outlook to make other people feel better. It never worked on him. Which is the most tragic thing about it all. But I think I would love to shake hands with him. There probably could be like a couple dead people, like Marcus Aurelius, who I would just sit down and probably talk to for hours and hours.
A film.
Socrates.
Yeah, well, that'd be cool. To be honest, I'd go back and have a right field day in ancient Greece with just chatting to people and be like, right, so, you know, seeing Socrates about, can we have a quick chat? Any of the gods around today? Can I get a photo opportunity? Poseidon? Can we get a wave?
Real quick. Just send an eagle my way, you know. Flap. Yeah. Just me over here. Yeah, me. Yeah.
I also think, though, that ancient Greece would have been such a tranquil place to be, and there would have been, you know, there's no cars, no motorways, no distractions, certainly no like mobile phones or anything like that. I bet it was lush. I bet it was like the best summer getaway.
Besides,
obviously,
you know, all the murder. All the crime.
None of that has changed.
It was a lot worse.
Maybe.
It's a lot worse.
Maybe.
I think the last person I would want to sit down and have a conversation with and shake hands with would be Isaac Newton, purely because I would tell him about how his theory of gravity has been so well established and so accepted, and how science works now and how we learn about it now, to see what his reaction would be.
See, for a second I thought you were going to say, I'd love to sit down and tell him, oh, no, in 20 years' time, we've actually disproved your theory of gravity. Nothing happened.
Sorry, mate. Your whole theory, rubbish.
I was close, but it just wasn't right, you know.
It wasn't even close, mate. Let's be honest.
You see black holes
falling from a tree?
Don't exist.
Yikes.
He's like, what? But then he says, well, no, because Stephen Hawking came back in his time machine and showed me. Oh, okay.
No. No, I just say the theory of, like, you know, the apple falling from the tree, that gravity pulls down. Actually, we discovered that it pulls up. It's just that you're going down. Yeah.
No, that is some general relativity crap that you're going on about now.
I just bring an apple and, like, figure out a way to throw it upwards without moving my hand. See, look. It goes up.
Great. Committing committing acts of magic with Isaac Newton.
Yeah.
Our next podcast.
Yeah. I think he'd love it. And hate it because all of his scientific theories were proven wrong.
Proven, yeah.
Yeah. Just single-handedly by me, who came back in a weird time machine just to shake his hand. That's how the conversation would end. It's, oh, by the way, I just wanted to shake your hand. Thanks for everything.
And then you zap back into your own timeline.
Yeah.
Zap.
Have you thought of one?
No, I was going to say something else about Barack Obama.
Useless. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Great. What I was going to say about Barack Obama is that I think it's really interesting because a lot of my views and opinions on him have been when he's been interacting with other people who I admire. Okay. So maybe it's a YouTuber who I follow who is really into science and really into discovery and experiencing things, and he's ended up speaking to Barack Obama, like Destin.
Okay. Yeah.
Destin, you know the one on YouTube? I forget his name.
No. I have no idea who you're talking about, but carry on.
But he does loads of science videos, and he went with the opportunity to speak to Barack Obama. And it was kind of a really interesting experience where it was about Barack Obama kind of just getting to trust him as a interviewer and as a questioner, and how they kind of got along and how they found middle ground. And I think, a bit like you with Jordan Peters, I kind of find a lot of the same... Peterson, sorry.
God damn it.
Useless again.
Useless.
I find a lot of the same pull with Barack Obama, where I look at him and think he is so well thought out in what he says and what he does, and the consideration that goes into both sides of an argument before he starts to speak or starts to put himself on one side of something, and his ability to empathize with other people as well. I think that is really, really exciting when you think that someone in power, such as the President of the United States of America, has the nous about them to go, yeah, I'm going to consider the next thing I'm going to say. I'm going to consider the opposition's point, and I'm going to try and come to a middle ground.
Do you think it's interesting that both the people that we've picked are quite stoic, logical, and thought out men?
Do I think it says a lot about what we want to be?
Yeah, I think it says a lot about like our aspirations. I don't want to be the president of the United States, nor a philosopher, or a psychologist rather.
I don't even want to be the first lady.
Really? I think you make a good first lady, as long as you shaved your legs.
Never again.
Damn it! I'd love to see those legs shaven. But no, I think it does say a lot that those are kind of our aspirations and I wouldn't say idols, but like definitely two people that we look up to in an admiration sense. And there's two very good people to look up to.
I think there are worse. I definitely think there are worse.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I could have said a lot of really bad people to shake hands with, but at least we went down the good route. You know?
Yeah, we can save that for after the podcast.
Yeah, the Patreon edition, the X-rated Patreon edition.
Is there anyone around today who you wouldn't necessarily want to shake hands with, but you would definitely be interested to meet them momentarily? I definitely have one.
Yeah, you go ahead first, because I have to think about that.
So just staying on the theme of presidents, I would love to meet Donald Trump. And
God, what did I knew you were going to say?
Just because it's on the same theme.
Donald Trump.
But I just to see how that man ticks over and how...
He's a lizard.
He is a lizard, and he's a lizard, and he's obviously involved in the chemtrails as well that we see in the skies.
Yeah, exactly. He controls half the pigeons in the UK.
And Boris Johnson's the other half.
Yeah, exactly.
God, I'm glad we are working some stuff out tonight. Scientific discoveries all round.
So you'd want to see Donald Trump. I think I would love to see Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Ooh, good shout.
I think just to watch him work or something, just to see like how he is when the cameras aren't on, and if he's still as like amazing and ticky as he is, and like enthusiastic. Like I would love to see him just like if he talks to himself in the mirror or something, and if he finds a new scientific discovery and he goes straight to the mirror and tells himself about the scientific discovery that he's just found.
I have a feeling that he will be just as eccentric and excited in his sleep than he will be than he is on the cameras and on the podcast as well.
Yes, 100%. I bet he like just talks in his sleep about the theories of the universe and spacecraft.
He'll wake up and go, "Ooh, sunny outside. Brilliant."
Yeah. The sun rises because the nitrogen hydroxygen gas, and it makes sure that it stays above float in the atmosphere.
Well, it's good to see that you've done your research.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the sun's made out of, alright? I just know that it's going to explode in 5 years.
Well, according to the Mayans, we're a few years late.
True, we are. Thank God. Otherwise, we wouldn't be sat here tonight talking to each other.
Unless they were dyslexic and it was 2021 instead.
Yeah. I mean, it would be a good year to end in this situation that we're in, I think.
Have a pandemic, then you're done.
Boom, dead.
Yeah.
Enjoy your last years of life, losers.
So what were you doing on the last day? You know, you're sat there in the afterlife. What were you doing the last day?
I was tanning.
Yeah, I was playing Rocket League.
Yeah, Rocket League, yeah. I was tanning on the sunbed, and then all of a sudden the sun goes poof, and we're gone.
Is that what people do in Birmingham?
What, tan on a tan bed outside?
Tan on the tan beds. That's just like what you do.
Yeah, that's exactly what that's like a local pastime in Birmingham.
Is it?
Yeah, like if you've never been to Birmingham, the streets are full of tan beds.
Great. Chew gum, get tanned. Perfect.
Yeah, exactly. One final question for you, though. If you could be in the room with Barack Obama, no cameras, no traces, no nothing, and what you ask him doesn't leave that room, what is one question you would ask him that can't be told to another living soul besides you two?
Ooh. Do you shave your legs? No. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I would be very intrigued to ask him in moments. There was like one specific moment of his presidency, which I saw a documentary about at one point, and it really confused me because it seemed very out of character for what I had seen of Barack Obama up to this point. And it was the water crisis in Flint, America.
Okay.
It's a little town called Flint, and they effectively had some water contamination. It was really unsafe, and it was causing people to get ill, and I think it caused people to die as well. And Barack Obama this rose up to the top level of government, and Barack Obama ended up making a visit to this town, and this town drastically needed civil engineering to come in and to effectively sort out this water crisis. And
this isn't the one that like poisoned all the cows and the livestock, is it?
I don't know. Maybe.
Okay.
It could be.
Sorry. Carry on.
But yeah, he came round and basically, like, he had this little glass of water from Flint. He basically kind of got on stage, and everyone was kind of expecting him to go, right, this is like a national emergency in this town, and we need to get this sorted. And he kind of stood up and sort of went, I don't know what you're on about. Everything's fine. Look, even I will sip this water. And sipped the water, and like basically pursed his lips, and it looked like he touched the water to his lips, and then put the drink back down, and kind of said, "See, it's fine. Don't all worrying about." And then sort of left.
Wow.
And I was like, "Whoa, that's." I mean, I don't know. Maybe it was just a stressful time at work. But
yeah, it's had a bad day.
Yeah, it was just that was one thing where I'd want to ask him. I was like, "What actually happened in your mind there? What did you know more data that no one else knew, or yeah?"
Well, what happened preceding those events?
Do you know what? I'm not entirely sure what's been happening since then and over the years. Okay. So I'm not the leading.
Yeah, it does definitely sound out of character though.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know how he felt and how he thought about it, and whether he was going off what advisors had said, or whether it was something he'd considered himself.
Yeah, that's a very. I was expecting something like, "Would you press the big red button if you had the chance?"
If you had the chance, just if you saw it and you were like feeling lucky,
and you wanted the world to end, would you press it? And she goes, "Yeah."
I'd love to. Yeah, great.
I think I'd ask Jordan Peterson what he thinks happens when we die.
Okay.
Personally, I think that would be with the man that he is. I'd love to see if he just gives me a very basic and plain answer of like nothing. There's an endless void abyss that we're not even conscious in, or if he believes that there is a other side, whether our life gets passed on to a next, something like that. I'd love to see what he said.
Reincarnated as a raccoon or something.
Yeah, exactly. Mate, that would be a good topic to talk about. What animal would you want to be reincarnated as, or something?
Yeah,
but we'll have to save that.
Tune in the next 2 weeks for what animals we'd be reincarnated into.
Next week, or next 2 weeks rather.
The next, you see.
Sorry, mate. Sorry, I forgot about my time.
This is Scottish Gareth, I think.
Yeah, that's really no. It's not a good Scottish at all. But moving on to living alone and living with other people. I'd love to hear your experiences, Joel. Go ahead.
Oh, well, it's just brilliant, isn't it? So for this at least, I will be on the camp of living alone. I moved out of my parents' house when
When you say living alone, I mean like on your own, not with your girlfriend.
Yeah. So living alone.
Okay, you're on that camp rather than living with your girlfriend.
No, in this discussion.
Okay.
No, I'm very happy to live with my girlfriend, and we're
Let's
doing
not
very
tell
well. And to be fair, we're having a brilliant time. But before that, before we moved in together, when she was still at university and we were in different cities, I, for 2.5 years, did live on my own, by myself, on my lonesome. And it was great. There were so many brilliant times where you'd just come home and you'd be like, oh, I just want to, kick my feet up and watch something. Well, you might as well, because no one's telling you not to.
Yeah, you can play a bit of Rocket League.
You could, you do whatever you want. It was great. And, cook a bit of food. Do you want to clean up straight away? No. Do you need to? No.
Is anyone coming round next week? No.
I mean, we'd see each other on weekends, so I'd have to tidy
Friday.
the place for the weekend.
Yeah. Wake up early on a Friday, tidy it all up, all sorted.
But it was great, and I didn't mind it at all. As someone, I'm like I think I'm more extroverted than introverted, but I really didn't mind spending a bit of time on my own because I could speak to friends on Discord or, chat to them on the phone or whatever it was. But then when you'd have a conversation, you could then go and sit down and eat some food on your own and be as messy as you wanted, or, you could go and play some games or just or just go to bed, just go to sleep. And there's now I say this with a pinch of salt, depends on your situation. There's no one around you to wake you up. In my case, that wasn't the case. I lived next to some pretty loud neighbours.
Loud as in, the freaky, or loud as in the just being loud?
Loud as in freaky, but not that freaky, just actual freaky.
Just freaky like goblins.
Yeah, there were definitely guttural goblin-like sounds that only arise after drinking so much more alcohol than the human body should ever have within it.
Sounds like the North, yeah?
I have no desire to hear these sounds again in my lifetime.
Yeah. So, as opposed to living by yourself, so you say that was fine. What was the hardest thing living by yourself, would you say?
The hardest thing was the fact that, there's no help with rent or with bills, and you keep sitting there and you thinking, oh man, like if I lived with someone, all this would be halved. And at the time, I was in a job where I wasn't earning a huge amount of money, so it was really lovely to think about the time when I could share the bills with someone and actually pay a bit less. That was on the financial side of things and on the kind of practical side of things. But also, it does just get lonely sometimes.
Yeah.
Straight up. You just wake up sometimes, and I was very fortunate because I had my girlfriend to come round on the weekends, and we could spend the weekends together. But if you lived on your own all the time, I could really imagine you wanting to spend a lot of time out the house with other people. And you do naturally, when you live on your own, spend a lot of time out of the house. Obviously, unless there's like a pandemic going on outside.
Yeah, that might stop you.
Yeah.
And how does that contrast to living with other people then? So who have you lived with? Is it just your parents and your girlfriend?
So I've lived with my family. So that was with my sister and my parents. Then my sister moved out, so it's just my parents.
Yeah.
And I've also lived with my girlfriend. I think living with your parents is interesting because if you've got your own corner of the house or your own room, that's like your house, effectively, is that room. You want everything in there because it's like, I don't want to use their stuff. I just want my own. Oh, God. Their kitchen, their living room. No.
Ugh, yuck.
Where I sleep, where I shower, where I work, where I game, that's all going to be within the confines of my small room. And that can be quite fun, but equally it can be quite irritating, like especially if you wanted to come home late at night and your parents, go to bed at sort of old age pensioner time of night.
Yeah.
Then you're definitely left thinking, oh, it'd be great if I was on my own. But
or you have like a tiny dog that has the vocal cords of a nation that barks when you walk in.
Yeah, when you've got a dog with vocal cords literally capable of joining in with a Welsh male choir.
Yeah.
So what about you then? Tell me, what's something, let's start with something good about living with other people or living in a group scenario.
Something good. Damn. You're asking the tough questions here. No, I'm joking. The best thing, and I would probably say, the best thing about living with people is if you work full-time, part-time, whatever, it's quite nice to see someone other than your work colleagues as you come home, and to just be able to talk about your day, to have a conversation with people. Fingers crossed that whoever you live with is up for a conversation. And you can talk about more or less anything and everything, and you do get to know people very well when you live with them, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. For me, on the most part, being able to, because when I did live with people, I was working 50, 60-hour weeks, so it was nice to come back and either vent or just talk to some of my mates that I lived with. And my first house, I think my rent ended up being £90 because of how many people I lived with, as opposed to when I lived by myself, it was 360. That
does sound a tasty reduction. I would not mind that.
Yeah.
Because one thing that I did think I could imagine be quite nice is that sense of having your own little community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Your own little, almost like a bit of a tribe in a way that you can just chill out with. You can, like you say, you can chat to, you can enjoy talking to them. So did you find that when you got to know people more, what became the most prominent feature of that scenario? Was it their quirks and features, so to say, or did you think, no, it's great, I just feel like I know them loads?
I think it was more, it completely depends on the person, because I don't think I had very deep conversations with a lot of them. You end up figuring out what they live like, not necessarily like their quirks and features, as in like how they actually just function as a person. And some of them, I to this day, I still don't know how the fuck they function. So as amazing as these people were or are, I don't know how they lived day in day in the way that they lived. And even going back to the kind of like tribe aspect, it is rather funny that the first probably like 2 or 3 months, you are like a little family. And then very slowly over the course of the next couple of weeks to the year, people just drop off in their own little corners. And then you don't see them again. So as started off with like 7 people in a house or like 6 people in a house. And it was like family time every night for 3 months. And then 2 people left. And then another 2 people left. And then 1 person left and you're there by yourself.
And all of a sudden your rent's like £700 a month. And you're like, oh.
No, I don't mean like left the house. I meant like they go to their own rooms. They don't come to the communal space anymore.
Yeah.
Or the living room.
To start with, you're all there on Wii Sports. No, it's my go. No, it's my go.
Mate, if Wii Sports was still a thing, I don't think the tribe would have ever disbanded. I need a petition to bring back Wii Sports. Holy shit.
Maybe that's a book. Wii Sports saved my family.
Yeah. But like we played poker, and we played like some board games like Jenga and stuff like that. I had a VR or have a VR, so when they could be bothered to play that, I brought that down because the living room was quite a big open space. But for some people, that's more hassle than it's worth. Like putting on the VR headset and playing it and watching someone playing it and stuff like that. But it was a really nice environment, and some of my best memories were like coming home and basically almost having like a little session with your mates before going to bed, and then slaving away at work again.
And then continue.
The thing that you notice is their living habits. I think that's very prominent. That if there's something that's annoying about them and the way they live, that's really, really prominent. If there's something that you love about them and the way they live, that's really, really prominent. So I think that's the thing that sticks out the most, I would say.
You get everything all the time, every day.
Yep.
And you can't.
And if you're living with girls, you see them without their makeup, like every day, because they can't be asked. After like they put it on for like two months, and then after that they can't be asked, and you see what they actually look like.
I'm not gonna lie,
which is a horror story.
I could not be asked to put makeup on every day at home. I couldn't do that.
I don't think I would if I was a girl.
No.
Like genuinely, I'd probably just be like, fuck it, don't care.
Yeah,
really
yeah.
Don't care. I'm gonna go play in the mud now. Bye bye. But I will say it's completely different from living alone, because I lived in a flat by myself, similar to you, and I absolutely loved it. I'm a bit different to you. I'm almost completely introverted, and I'm very much a recluse. So I like my own company. It doesn't bother me. I have a computer. I have things to like keep me occupied. But it was nice having people round. Like it was my own space that I could say to any one of my friends, "Hey, do you want to come round for the night, or do you want to, have a gaming session, whatever it would be." And I could do that without being like, "Hi, I'm bringing some friends over. Is that all right?" to whoever I was living with. Which was really, really. It felt like your own space. It felt like you owned that small bit of land, in a way.
It is. It's nice to have a domain which you can call yours, and that you can, like you say, you can have people over, and then once they have left, you're just back to your way of living, whatever you want to do. And I think the nicest thing about living on your own is that it's whatever feels most comfortable. So if you feel comfortable sitting down and watching a movie and then going to bed, you can do that. Or if you feel most comfortable talking to people online, you can do that as well.
Yeah.
There is
completely.
one thing though that I sorely missed when living on my own, and I still miss it now because my girlfriend hates these types of films. But I really missed being able to watch horror films with other people.
With other people.
So I love horror films, but I
Yeah.
don't like watching them on my own.
Oh.
And I don't want to sit there in the dark watching a horror film. I feel like a psychopath. And I think it'd be great fun when it's with friends. Like, go to the cinema, watch it there, watch it anywhere. It's great fun. But as soon as you are on your own and you're sat there, and then at some point in the first 25, 30 minutes of the film, it will occur to you and you'll just think, what am I doing? Why am I watching this film on my own? Am I all right?
Am I a psychopath?
Do I need help?
Am I getting off on this film? Let me check.
And it just
See. Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
yeah, I was just gonna say it's just something which I really enjoy. It's like a guilty pleasure where I don't want to enjoy it, but to be fair, I do quite a lot.
See, I don't like horror films. I find them boring. Like entirely boring. I think the plot of horror films is so overdone. I think the writing is trash. I don't like them at all.
It's another possessed doll.
Yeah. Oh no, it's a vampire coming to suck your blood. Woo! What else is he gonna do? You know? Oh no, the girl's head is turning 360 degrees. Oh no, she's a fidget spinner. You know?
She's a fidget spinner.
I don't see the gimmick in it. But I say this, I do have quite a bad horror story to tell. Is I don't easily get scared, I wouldn't say. You know, I don't have a fear of any animals. I've got like a 3-4 inch spider in my bathtub that's just chilling at the moment because, you know, why not? Let him live his own life. Like I don't have a fear of any of that. I don't have a fear of like someone chasing me or like possessing me. I don't believe in ghosts either. However, I watched, because I was recommended by one of my my classmates to watch this Japanese folklore horror series, right? And basically all the premises, I think it's called Yamshibai. I think that was called it Yamashibai or Yamshibai. And it's a really weird like cartoon style of storytelling. It's like, you remember Gruesome Tales for Gruely Kids or Horrible Kids?
Yeah, vaguely. That does ring a bell actually, yeah.
Yeah. That was like an old like kids like horror sort of program in the UK. And it was the same method of art. It's like cut out cardboard that has been drawn on but put together in a cartoon, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they're Japanese folklore stories, and I was watching some of them, and some of them weren't really that scary at all, but they were quite creepy. And there was this one about a woman in a flat next door, right? And the flat that I lived in was on the 3rd or 4th story of this building. And the view that I had was literally a U-turn in the building, and opposite my window was another window. That was literally my view, was another person's window, right? And it was probably like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. I was watching this. And all it was this guy moved in to his new flat. And across the way was a woman that just stared at him through the window, like in her own room. So his view was another window across the way. She was in her own flat, but staring across at him. And he was like, "Oh, okay, fine. Think nothing of it at the moment, and just get on with it." And every day she'd stare at him, and she wouldn't move at all.
That's uncomfortable.
Until like, huh?
That's very uncomfortable. I'm already loving this, by the way. Carry on.
But it's like, and if I can't even describe what she looked like because it was vile. Like even to this day, the image kind of still sticks in my head because it was just a really weird looking woman, right? Like very, very strange. Like after the recording, I'll send you a picture. It's not nice. And basically he got freaked out. I think she left him a letter or something. I can't remember. Like this was 4 years ago. And he freaked out and called the police. Right. Eventually, I'm pretty sure. I know, because she broke into his house. That was it. She broke into his house as he walked in, and she was on the ceiling, just looking down at him.
Oh,
right. Because he looked out the window and he was like, "Oh, she's not there. Thank God. Maybe she's left." And he looked up and she was on the ceiling, looking down at him.
Oh, I see.
So he calls the police, right? And she doesn't attack him. The police take her and put her, in the back of the police car. And the end of the episode is them driving away in the police car, and she's looking forward, away from him. And then all of a sudden, her head snaps around 180 degrees and looks back at him as they drive off, and then it cuts to black.
Oh gosh, spooky.
And like, and I was watching that, I was like, at 3 a.m. that was the only one that really sent like shivers down my body. And it got worse to the point where like I sat back in my chair and turned to the right of me. At this point, I had no curtains, right? And the windows were uninsulated, which also, if anyone's been in winter in Wales without no insulation in your house, you know how awful that is.
Big up the single glazing.
It wasn't even mate. It just wasn't insulated at all. So, yeah. And then I looked to my right, and all I could see was the other person's window, and it was just pitch black.
Oh,
and I was
no.
like, "Oh, fuck, I'm gonna die! I'm gonna
They're
die! I don't want to die. I've got school tomorrow."
I've got school tomorrow.
So yeah, that's like the worst I think I've ever experienced. A bit of like genuine fear. The cold sweat kind of like went down my body as I looked at that dark space across from me, and then I immediately brought curtains the next day.
There are moments when you live on your own that things happen that do freak you out to a point where you're laid in bed and you're like, all of a sudden, I feel less comfortable and I don't want to sleep.
Yeah, there's that. All it takes is one thought in your head, and you're a bit like, why? Why did I think that? Why did I think that?
I used to. So you'll find this hilarious. I used to. I still do actually. When I'm going to bed, I listen to a horror podcast.
Okay, why?
Because it helps me sleep.
Okay.
And it's
horror podcasts help you sleep.
I love this podcast. It's called Unexplained. It's by a guy called Richard McLean Smith, and it's brilliant. I love how he develops these stories, and they're real stories. They're kind of effectively British or American folklore, but they're real stories, and some of them are even from Yorkshire, quite close to where I live. And they're these like horror stories about ghosts and strange goings-ons and people dying of weird causes, and just anything that is truly unexplained to this day is the story that he delves into and researches, and kind of brings it out almost as if he was writing a book about it. He'll say, it was 12:30 in the afternoon, and Mrs. Richards had just got up to feed the baby when all of a sudden she heard a knocking at the front door. And it's and I'd love it. My heart would be going.
All of a sudden, the baby turned into a fidget spinner.
Common problem. Model fault.
Just baby fidget spinners, you know.
Yeah, but I absolutely love that podcast, and I do listen to it. And sometimes when I was on my own, I'd listen to it to go to sleep, and I'd be laid there, and I was like, "This is so spooky. I feel a little unnerved, but I'm glad. I'm happy about it."
You're happy about feeling unnerved while you live by yourself in bloody near Yorkshire.
Now I reflect, there's maybe a reason I was living on my own.
What, because you wanted that thrill of being scared?
It's just weird. Just who wants to live with that person? I don't.
You just go to your partner. Do you want to listen to this like horror podcast before we sleep? No, fuck is wrong with you, you psychopath? I don't want to be scared. I don't want to be thinking about like intruders while I'm trying to sleep.
We did once. I said to kind of put on this podcast. It's like a tense thriller story. So, oh yeah, go for it. So we did, and we actually both really enjoyed it. But the difference there was that we were both together, so it took away that edge of
it's a bit different.
I'm on my own and someone's talking about a situation that I see myself in right now.
There was I think it was a bit different for me in the sense of, because I was in a flat complex, I wasn't too worried about any of that, besides obviously the window. But even then, I wasn't too worried about it, because the like main hall light was always on.
Yes.
So it would come through the bottom of my door, and if people came back, you'd hear it very clearly. There wouldn't be any like weird sounds. You'd know it was like people walking or like their door closing or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't too worried then, at all, for that matter. But even when I was living with other people as well, there's something quite comforting, I guess, knowing that there's someone in the house with you. And I think when I was in the house with 7 people, I was in the room furthest away. So if I ever had like thoughts like that, I was like, well, if someone breaks in, I'm the last one they're gonna go to. So I'm fine.
I'm safe.
I'm safe. I can hide in the wardrobe or whatever. There is something that I always do, and I do it regardless of whether I'm at home or in my own house or whatever, is I make sure that all the cupboards are closed. Like closed. I can't have an open cupboard.
Yeah. I think
there was I was going to say, even today, so I locked all the doors to my house because my parents were away, right? And I put the keys in the door. Normally, when your key's in the door, you can't push the key out and unlock it from the other side, right?
No.
Today, it was probably around 11 o'clock. I was asleep, and all of a sudden, I hear my dog start to like growl, and I open my eyes, and my door is slowly opening.
Ooh.
And there was an instance in my head where I'm like, I'm gonna die. And then my dad pops around the side of the door, being like, "All right, mate.
Hey, son, you want some bacon? Yeah, it's better than death."
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not dead. Yeah, thanks. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
What was you gonna say anyway?
Entirely forgotten. It's gone now.
Oh, Jesus! You literally have a memory of a goldfish. It's insane.
What's a goldfish?
What? What did you say?
Who said what?
Huh? Who am I talking to? Who is this right now?
Yeah, yeah. I'm. No, I really enjoyed living on my own. There were some great aspects to it. I equally love living with my girlfriend and love living kind of in that scenario where there's 2 of you, because you do have a lot of fun. I mean, I've never been so into Mario Kart, and I've never been so angry at Mario Kart, dare I say. That game is infuriating in every which way, but it's so good, and it's like an addiction. I keep coming back, but I get so angry.
And you like watching her play Animal Crossing as well, which I find very weird.
It's got great music, though. It's so relaxing. It's
Animal
like
Crossing does have great music.
Close your eyes and you just hear the wind and the noise of like boots crunching through the leaves and the zen and the sound of her continuously shaking trees to try and get money to drop out of them.
There was we had that when I was living with people, but it was UFC. I think it was UFC 3, where
shaking people's skulls instead.
Yeah, it was almost like tradition that we'd come down at least once a week. All 4 of the boys, obviously the 2 girls that were living with us weren't interested at all, which probably led to a lot of the reason. I am English, by the way. It led to the reason of them almost splitting off into their own rooms, because instead of watching TV or films, like one of the guys would put on UFC, and the girls weren't interested, so they left, and then their boyfriends joined them eventually. But yeah, we would sit around and have a competition of who was the best UFC player, and we'd basically play King of the Hill, which was quite fun, and it got really, really heated. And one of the people I live with, which he knows exactly who he is, would be screaming the house down because he gets so infuriated with it. And the kid has lungs on him as well, so it wasn't like people didn't hear. I think we did get a complaint once, but he would literally scream at the top of his lungs if he lost, which was hilarious.
All I can say to finish that off is don't let that man play Mario Kart.
I don't think I ever would. Like, I think he'd like genuinely have an aneurysm.
Punches would be thrown and violence would occur.
Yeah, I think he'd just be the angriest little gnome ever. But I think that is the best part of living with people, is the social interaction. Whereas living by myself, I liked the solidarity. Is that the right word? Solidarity.
I guess there's a consistency of just being able to be comfortable and do what you want to do, and never have anyone kind of say, "Oh, but I want to."
No, I mean just being on your own. I think one thing that
solitude.
Solitude. Thank you.
There you go.
I think one thing that happens when you live by yourself is there's a lot of self-reflection that ends up happening naturally, because the only person that you are with is yourself. And if you don't like that, you're going to have a really shit time.
Yeah, it's not going to be the best, is it?
Exactly. So I think if I could choose, I would definitely live by myself again. Over living with people, I think. Being in charge of yourself and what you can do and not have to worry about other people and what they do. I would much prefer that. If I had a partner, which I don't, I would probably live with them as well over anything else.
I agree. I think it depends. When you're living with someone who you love and someone who you know and they know you, you like each other a lot more. So it's a lot easier to get on. Because
you're more willing to work things out if something goes wrong.
Yeah, you're more willing to work things out. You're also more invested in having a good time for yourself, while also, allowing the other person to do what they want to do, and kind of finding that compromise is much easier. And I think as well, if you're someone stable in life, it's really easy to be able to live with them in that regard, because when you're a student, people are coming and going to families' houses, people are moving out, moving in. It's quite a turbulent time in terms of housing and jobs and just the kind of state of people's lives generally. So there is something about that, as when you're kind of settled and you're a little bit older, makes it easier. Definitely.
Yeah. And you're more committed to painting walls at least 3 times, because the first 2 times didn't work.
It doesn't even need to be. Look, it was just one room, okay?
It was just one room, but the paint wouldn't stick.
We actually had to take the paint back to B&Q, where we got it from, and we said, this is the card of the paint colour we ordered. And we said, we don't think it's the right colour. And they did what they do. So they get a bit of the paint and they swirl it on the card. And they say, when it's dry, you shouldn't be able to see a difference. It was like night and day.
Oh, God.
And we'd ordered something which was like a yellow base, and it had a green base. And they looked at it and they were like, ugh. And we were like, yeah, it doesn't look quite right. And they were like, no, I can see.
Just for context sake, again, I am English. I do speak the language fluently. Just for context, you ended up buying paint, painted your entire room, and it didn't work. It didn't turn out to what you wanted it to do. And then the paint started cracking off the walls. So you tried to paint it again, and now you've gone back to B&Q to get a new paint.
No. So those are 2 separate rooms.
Oh my God.
So the one room, that what we did is, to start with, it had this like silk paint, and it was really old and it needed a refresh. So we said to the landlord, do you mind if we paint it? He said, yeah, not a problem. Great. So we had to go around with sandpaper and scuff up the entire room, every wall, all the the ceiling, every bit of paint. So we went around and did that, and that was just so when we put a new coat of paint on, it would stick properly and it wouldn't flake off. So we did all of that prep, and it was so dusty, and we covered all of the room with sheets and all the furniture with plastic sheets. Then we went round and we painted the first coat, and the first coat went on beautifully. And we saw the color. We were like, it will dry differently. It'll be fine. So we did the whole room and we coated it great. And then we put on the accent color as well. And we took a step back when it was all fully dried, and we went, this doesn't seem quite right. And
save the right color.
It turned out that we actually ended up going for a different accent color and a different base color, so we had to repaint the room.
What accent was it? Scottish.
Budum-dum-ch.
Hey, good dad joke. Thank you.
It was green. We wanted to go for a green, and we thought we wanted to go for a slightly deeper green because we were trying to go for this like nice foresty effect. But it turned out just to look absolutely horrific. And in the end, we went for a lighter green that kind of gave the effect that we wanted. So yeah, we ended up repainting the walls at least 3 and a bit times.
So what was the one that flaked off?
The one that flaked off was because we burnt some candles while a bath was happening. I was like, oh no, it's just put a little bit of soot on the wall. So we'll just wipe that off. And as we wiped off, all the paint came off. We were like, great.
You tried to be all romantic and saucy with the bath time, and it ended up backfiring.
And let me say, that is not a bath for 2 people. I can confirm that now.
There's not many baths in the world that are for 2 people. Can I just say that?
Yeah, there's always a hot tap at one end, which is really painful.
You sit there, fuck, ow. There's always it's either hot or cold, you know. You one shoulder's enjoying it and the other one's in pain, so you can't. Sometimes you just kind of have to do a rotisserie flip and get the chest involved as well.
And the only answer: live by yourself.
Yeah, I think that's the moral of the story. Is at the end of the day, just live by yourself. It's easier. It's easier. You've got your own company. Unless you want to live with me, Joel.
Let's do it. Let's run away together.
Let's do it.
Let's elope.
All right. It's the end of the podcast. We're gonna get a house together. Me and Joel. You'll never see us again.
See you at the airport.
See you at the airport. Love you, babe.
Love you too, bud. Bye.
Bye bye.